Welcome back everyone. In today's lesson, we will dive into one of the most powerful and essential concept in Python. That is actually Python classes. By end of this video, you will not only understand what classes are, but also learn how to create them, use them, and apply them in real world project. So grab your keyboard and let's get started. First thing first, what are classes? Think of a class as a blueprint. Just like a blueprint is used to construct buildings, a class is used to create objects, and objects represent real world entities with their own properties and behavior. Let's see a quick example of creating a class. To create an object, at first you need to create a new Python file. Let me create a Python file at the beginning. Here you can see new file icon. We will type a file name here, and as it's a fast tutorial, we will make it part_1.py. This is a Python file, so that's why I'm using .py extension here. Okay, now let me press an enter. What we are going to do actually, at first we will create a class, then from the class we'll create a instance of the class, so that is actually object, and finally we'll check the type of the object. Okay, so let me do it step by step. Here the step on, that is actually create a new class. Okay, so to define a class, at the beginning you will have to include a keyword, that is actually class. Then you will have to provide a name of the class. As this class is for person, we simply define this is person class. Then we'll have to define a clone, and after then we will press the enter key. Here we can simply type pass. We don't write anything, we can simply define pass. The pass statement is a placeholder that doing nothing actually. It's often used to create empty classes or function that will be implemented later. That means we can say it's a empty class. This class doing nothing right now. Okay, after defining the class, what you will have to do? You will have to create an object by using this class. So step 2, create an object by using the above class. Okay, to create an object, at first you need to define person on. So this is the variable name. Then we will assign, so that's why assignment operators. Then we'll call this person class from here. This line actually create an instance of the person class and assigning it to a variable that is actually person on. This instance is often referred to an object. Okay, and the third step is actually we will have to check the object's type. So let me define step 3, that is actually check the object's type. Okay, so to check the object type, at first let me type print, then inside parenthesis we'll define type, because we would like to check the type of the object, so that's why type, and inside these actually we'll pass this person on inside the parenthesis. So now if you run your code, let me see what output we are getting. We will simply clear it, and from this we will choose Python file, and after running this, let me run it again. You can see you are getting this type of output. What does it mean? This output is indicating that the person 1, this person 1 is a instance of the person class. So if you get this type of output, that means you are successfully creating an object. To make this person class more useful, you can add attributes like name, age, or also you can add some methods like creating a function. We'll do it within a few seconds. As I said, to make a class useful, you can add attributes and methods. And in this part actually, I would show you how you can include methods instead of the empty class. Okay, so to do that, let me close the terminal and also close the file. We'll create a new file. This is actually part 2. So part_2.py, that means Python file, and here we will do the same thing. We will create a new class that is for person, but instead of the empty class we will include a method inside this class. Then we will create an instance, then we will do something output, or we will just call the instance to print something. Okay, so let's do that. At first we'll have to define class keyword, then we'll have to define the class, so that is actually person. Then we will define clone, and let me press enter. Here we said actually when you creating a function inside a class that is actually called it methods, these methods actually operate on its own data. Okay, so let's define a function here. So that is actually def key at the beginning of the function. Then we'll have to write the function name, that is actually greet, and we will do something like this. This is parenthesis, then we will take a clone, and here actually we can simply print the keyword something like this. We will simply print hello. Okay, and this function can receive a parameter that is actually called self. Okay, here we are creating a method. This is actually method, and this method will have to call it by creating an instance. So let's do that. Here at the beginning, what you will have to do, you will have to create an instance. So to create an instance, let me define person1. Then we will have to call the classes. So let me call the person class. Now this is the instance of the class. Then the next task is we would like to get output something like this hello. It will just print hello on the terminal. So how is it possible to make it visible? We at first have to call person on, then we'll have to call the method. So our method is, after defining the dot, you can see it's actually suggesting the greet method that we define here. Okay, so let me choose this greet, and as it's a function we have to call it. So if you define something like this and run your code, you will get output the word hello. If you define hello developers something like that, then run your code again, you will get the same output that you print here. Okay, so now let me do a little bit explanation here. At first we have created a new class that is actually person, and inside this class this is the method, and this method actually print the words we will write here. Notice that we used a self inside the method. What actually self refers? The self refers to the instance of the class we are working with. I hope you understand this. And now we will have to work with another level of the Python classes. So let's move to the part 3. So for the part 3, let me create a new file that is actually part_3.py. At this segment actually we would like to define how you can work with init method. Okay, so now let's talk about init method. And this is a special method in Python class that is automatically run when you can create actually an object. It's often used to initialize object properties. So let's do it. We will do the same classes as we did previously. So at the beginning we'll have a class, then we will do the same class that is actually a person, then we will have a clone, and inside here we'll have to write a method that is actually def, and then we will simply define the init method. So that's why __init. Look, it's actually suggesting. So we'll choose this on, then it's actually create a template for you, but if you don't like it you can simply create your own way. I just define init, then __. Here you will have a parenthesis, you will receive parameter from here actually, then we'll have a clone. So let me define something like this. Here what you will receive, at first you will receive the self. This actually refers to the instance of the class person when we're working with it. Then, and additionally you can receive some others parameter like name, and you can also receive age from here. Okay, after doing that, what the next actually, here we can define self.name, and that is actually the name you just received from here. And after then you can also do the same way. We will have set dot age and then assign the age here. Okay, so if you do that, the first init method is created. Now we'll define another method that is actually something like this, dave, and here we'll include the greet method that we defined previously. So here we'll receive self, then we'll have a clone, and here we'll print something dynamically. So that's why inside this parenthesis we'll include a keyword, then quotation, and inside here actually let me define hello, then this is, here you will include your name, so that's why curly braces, and to print your name we'll have to call self dot name inside here, and after then we'll include and I am actually will print our age, so that's why curly braces, and we'll reference this self dot age here. After then what you will have to do, you will add your text years world, something like this. Okay, so we'll have successfully created a class including some methods, and obviously here is the init method and this is the greet method. Now this is time to create a instance, so let's do that. Here let me define a instance. So for this is the person one as we did previously, and we'll have to call this class. And right now we will have to include the name and age inside these classes. So let me call it, and inside here we'll actually pass a name, so this is actually Mamun, and we will pass a age. So for example it's actually 23. Now it's time to print the grade. Okay, so to do that we will call the person on, then we will call the method something like this, grade. Okay, so finally what you will have to do, we'll save it and run it. So if you run it, you can see hello, this is Mamun and I am 23 years old. Look, you can see exactly the same output from here, from this method. Actually you will define hello, this is save.name, that means this actually print Mamun, and here the save.age actually replace the value is actually 23. Okay, so let me edit it again, or you can just create another person, for example person 2, and here actually you call the class is actually person, and inside here you can pass Alice, and you can define it's actually, she is actually 22. Okay, now if you just call it person 2, then if you call the greet method you will get output something like this. Let me run it. Look, hello, this is Alice and I am 20-year old. So you can successfully create a class including init method by using this way. I hope you understand how this is actually work. This is actually a special method in Python classes, and it's very important to automatically run when you create an object, and this is actually often used to initialize object properties. I hope you understand me properly. Okay, let me delete it and let me close all of this stuff from the tab, and in the next session actually we will learn how actually the difference between the classes and instance attribute. So to do that, actually let me create a new file that is actually part underscore 4.py. Okay, and here actually we would learn the instance and class attributes, the differences between it. So I just define a comment at the top. Class can have two types of attribute, class attributes and instance attributes. Class attributes actually shared across all object, and instance attributes actually unique to each object. So let's code it. So for this, at first we'll do the same class, that is actually person. Then right now we'll define class attributes. To define class attributes, here what you will have to do, for example we will define the person including the species, that is actually human species. So sp is ci is species, that is actually we are human, hu human. Okay, this is actually the class attribute. Let me add a comment here. So this is class attribute. Okay, and after doing that we will define a method that is actually dev, and here we'll include init method. In it method underscore underscore, we'll have to receive some parameter from here, then we will have to do something. Okay, so this is actually self, then we will have to pass the name as a parameter, and here actually we will just define self dot name, and that is actually this name. Okay, here this is actually the instance attribute. Let me comment, this is actually instance attribute. So I said class attribute share across all the objects, so this is class attribute and it's share across the complete objects. So to get that actually we'll have to create a class instance at the beginning, so let's do that. So here actually let me define instance instance of the class, that is actually first instance will be person1, and we'll have to call the person class here. And right now we'll actually provide a name here that is actually Alice. Okay, something like that. And now if you would like to print this, so let me print, and here we will just print by using this class attributes. So for this actually we will call person1, then dot species. Okay, species, and after then we would like to get the output, so that's why we'll add a comma, and then we'll have person on dot name. Okay, so if you do that, what actually happened? So let me run this code, and here you can see human Alice. So this is the output. Here species is a class attribute shared to all over the object, but the name is specifically used to each object. So this allows you to define global parameters while keeping instance specific data. Okay, so for this actually let me try it with person2. So person actually 2, then here we will have to call the person, and the person will be Bob, and now we'll also print that. Okay, let me print. Here will be person2 dot species, and now we will actually define person2 dot name. Okay, so now if we run we will get the output that is actually human Bob. The next thing is that we would like to add methods, and we will add more functionality to a class to create methods. Okay, so we are going to create a calculator that actually add, subtract, or doing something amazing. So let me close this, and for now this is actually part5 dot py, and we would like to go to create a calculator, a simple calculator that actually calculates something by just creating more functionality inside a methods. Okay, so to do that let me define class, and as it's a calculator class, so we'll define calculator. Okay, then we'll have a clone, and here we will define two methods. One is actually dev, and that is actually add method, and here it will receive parameters something like this. This is the self, it is the default parameter. Then we will take two parameter, number 1 and b for number 2. Then it's actually return a plus b. Okay, so this is the addition, and after then we will also define another method that is actually subtract. Okay, it also receive self, then a comma b, and this is for actually subtraction, so return something like a minus b. Okay, so after defining the class actually we'll have to create an instance. So to create an instance let me define calc. This is the instance, and to create an instance you will have to call the classes, so we'll simply call it. Okay, now it's time to calculate. So to calculate it, for example, let me print calc. So this is actually calc, this is the instance, and inside this instance we'll have to define dot notation, and then we will call the add method, and here actually we'll pass two numbers, for example 5 and 3. So if you run these, actually you will get an output 8. So let me test it. Let me run this code, and you can see this is the output, that is actually 8. Okay, so let me define the output is 8, and after then let's calculate the subtraction. So that's why here we can simply define print, and again we'll call the instance, then we will define the dot method, that is actually subtract, and here we'll simply define the same word, that is actually 5 and 3, and now we'll get output, actually the differences is actually 2. So let me run this. You can see the first output is 8 for the addition, and the second output is 2 for the subtraction. And in this example, actually we created a calculator class with two methods, that is actually add method and subtract method, that makes our class reusable for previous calculations. Okay, in the next video actually we will have to cover encapsulation and private attributes. So now it's time to move further, and this time actually we will create encapsulation and private attributes. So let me close all of this stuff, and now this is actually part underscore 6.py, and let me add a comments at the beginning. It's actually encapsulation and private attributes. So encapsulation allow you to restrict to access some certain attributes or method. That means you can restrict your attributes or method by using encapsulation, and we can make attributes private by using double underscore. So let's visualize it. For this, at first let me define a class, that is actually the same person class, and inside here actually we will have to define a method, that is actually dev, and then we will use init method. So init, and inside here actually we will pass name as a parameter, and inside instead of this pass, actually instead of the empty method we will simply define self dot name equal name. So this is the general way to define a attribute. I hope you understand that. But now we would like to use encapsulation to make it private. Okay, so how it's possible to make it happen? You will have to define double underscore before the name. So if you do this double underscore before the attribute, then it will be private attribute. I hope you understand. This is now a private attribute. Okay, so after doing that, let me define another method. So dev get name, get underscore name, and this is actually receive self, and then we will actually return this self, and would like to access the private attribute. So that's why we'll define underscore name. Okay, so now our class is created. The next thing is that what you will have to do, you will have to create a instance. So that's why let me define person1, and we'll call this actually class. So let me call this class, and here we'll provide a name, that is actually Mamun. Okay, and then we'll print it. So let me print what would like to print. We'll call the person on, then we'll get the method by using dot name. Okay, so if you call now, look what you will get. Actually let me show you. You can see the output actually Mamun. Here the example underscore name, this is the private attributes. It cannot be accessed directly outside the class. If you try to get it outside the class, you can't able to do that, but you can access it inside here actually by using get method, actually get underscore name method. I hope you understand. Encapsulation is used to private any attributes inside a method, and this is the way. In the next tutorial actually we will work with inheritance and polymorphism. Okay, now it's time to create inheritance and polymorphism, and it's the concept that is actually most important concept. Python support inheritance, that means allow one class to inherit the properties or methods from the other class. That means you will create a connection between two classes. So let's do that. So for this, actually we will have part underscore 7.py. We're going to work with inheritance and polymorphism. So let me add a comment at the top. So as I said, actually if you want to make a connection between two classes, then you have to learn inheritance and polymorphism. So let's do that. Actually, at first we'll define a class for animal. So that's why class, then we will name it animal. Okay. And this is actually will define a method that's actually Dave, and the method name will be speak, SPE, aka speak, and this is actually receive self. This is the default parameter. Then it actually print the animal makes a sound. Okay, something like that. Okay, so this is the animal class, and now we will create another class by using the same class. Okay, to do that, what you will have to do, so let me a class for dog actually. So this is the dog class, and we will pass this class inside it. Then let me define something like that. Here we'll call the same actually speak method, so something like this. And here actually we will have self, and then we'll print something like this: the dog barks. Okay, that means the dog is barking or something like that. Okay, so now how is it possible? Look, so for this time actually let me create an instance of dog, and we'll call this dog class here actually. Then now if you call the speak method after that line, so that is actually dog dot speak, and let me call it, what you will get output. So you will get an output something like this: the dog barks. Okay, let me run it. You can see the dog barks. Here actually what happened it, at the beginning here we'll define a new class that is actually animal, and here we'll have a method that's actually a speak method. This is printing a generic message. The message is actually the animal makes a sound, and after doing that we'll create a subclass by using this class. This is actually child class, and here actually we define dog, for actually the class is for dog, and here we inherit the animal from this. So this is actually parent and this is actually children. Dog is a inherit of animal, that means dog is a child of an animal. So we'll actually make a class by using inherit method, so that is actually for dog, and this class actually provide more specific implementation for dog. And this example is the fundamental concept of object oriented programming. Inheritance: by using inheritance you can create inherits of class, promoting code reusability and modularity. Now at the last topic we will do a practical. The practical is something like this. We will create a bank account class that allow you to deposits and withdrawals. So let's do that. This is the practical concept. So let's create a new file for practical underscore example dot py. Okay, so what actually we would like to do, we'll make a bank account class. So let me add a comment. So practical project is something like this: a bank account class to allow deposit and withdrawals. So for this let me define class, and as it's for bank account we can just simply define bank account. So this is the class name. Then inside here we will have some method. The first method is actually Dave, and it will be default method, so that's why it's in it. And here actually it will receive account holder, so account underscore holder. Then we will define default parameter, that's for balance, balance. Balance will be by default 0. Okay, so something like this, sorry, 0. And instead of empty methods, what you will actually do, we will define self dot account holder, account underscore folder, and that is assigned to this account holder. Let me copy this and paste it here. And after doing that, save dot balance is balance. Okay, so we are just defining a init method here, and after doing that we'll have to create another method for deposit. So for bank deposit. Okay, so let me define another method that is actually for deposit, and here by default we will have save, then it's actually receive an amount. Okay, then we'll have a clone, and here actually we will increase the balance, so that's why we'll have to call save dot balance here. So save dot balance, then we'll have to increase the amounts by using this way. Actually we will have something like this. We'll have save dot balance plus this amount, and you can write it in short something like this way. You can write it by in short something like this, plus equal amount. Okay, and after then we'll actually return something like this. We can return if, and we would like to say something like this. Here the text will be deposited. Here we'll pass the amount, so deposited amount, new balance, balance balance is something like this. Here we'll have curly braces, we'll have save dot balance. Okay, something like this. So this is for deposit, and now we'll do another method for actually bank withdrawal. So for bank withdrawal, actually what you will have to do, you will have to check. So at first let me define the method that is actually withdraw. Okay, and here actually save and amount, and inside here actually at first we'll have to check if the amount is greater than save balance. If your balance is less than amount, you cannot actually withdraw. So that's why we'll check amount is greater than save dot balance, then we can simply return a message something like this, insufficient balance. Okay, or you can just define funds something like that. Okay, and otherwise if the amount is less than your balance, what you will have to do, you will have to define save dot balance, and then you can simply actually define save dot balance minus amount, and you can do it the same way in short, that is actually so minus equal amount. So this is the shorthand property, and after then we can return something like this. We'll have to return dynamically, so that's why actually withdrawn with here withdraw amount, so here amount, and then we'll have new balance is save balance. Okay, so something like this. So our class with some method is created. Now it's time to create an instance. So to make an instance, so let me define, we will create an account. So we will simply define, so we can just do it more personally, my underscore account. Okay, here we'll have to call this bank account. Okay, so bank account class, and this class actually receive the account holder and the balance. So let me define the account holder name, actually Alice. Then we'll actually pass the amount. Balance is actually maybe $100. Okay, so this is something like this. Now what you have to deposit, so to add balance, balance to the bank account, we'll have to deposit it. So to call it, actually we'll have to print, and here at first we'll have to call my account, then we'll have to call the deposit method, and we'll deposit something like this. We'll add $50. So if you deposit $50, now the current value will be something like this. Here hundreds plus 50, that means 150. Okay, so let me check the output. We'll just simply run the code, and let me clear it. We'll run it again. Here you can see deposit 50, and the balance is now something like this. If you want to print dollar sign, you can just do that way. You can add dollar sign here, also here. Okay, so now let me run it again. You can see you deposited $50, and now your balance is 150. Okay, So from now here, let me withdraw from the bank account. So print here, we will define my account dot withdraw, and here for example you would like to withdraw $70. So your right now your current balance is $150. Now if you withdraw $70, that means your next balance will be something like this $80. So let me run this. You can see you deposited $50 and the balance was actually $150, and now you withdraw $70. That is actually right now the balance is actually 80. Okay, what if you just withdraw greater than the amount you have? For example, you just would like to withdraw $200. Now what actually print? It will actually print insufficient funds. So let me run it. You can see insufficient fund. So that means our practical project is working, and it's for actually bank withdrawn projects, and these projects combine all the concept you have learned, that is actually initialization method and encapsulation, something like that. Okay, that's a warp of Python classes. We covered the basics, explore methods, attributes and instance inheritance, and even build a practical project. So don't forget to practice by creating your own classes, and it's best to learn better way. If you enjoyed this tutorial, hit the like button and subscribe for more Python content. See you in the next video.